This is our 2 o'clock Thursday, November 20th briefing on the heavy rainfall and flooding threat across portions of south central Texas. Just some updates since we last spoke yesterday. We did remove some counties out of the flood watch, namely Hays, Comal, and Bexar County, and then westward into Medina, Uvalde, and Kinney County. Those counties were removed earlier today from the flood watch, as we expect the potential for the heavier rainfall to be north of these counties. So we'll go ahead and get started here. The main points we just kind of want to stress are we have seen some isolated pockets of heavy rainfall that have occurred overnight and through early this afternoon across portions of the Western Hill Country back into Valverde County. That threat for heavy rainfall will continue over the next few hours across those areas and then gradually shift eastward into the Eastern Hill Country and I-35 corridor this evening and overnight. The flood watch remains in effect for portions of the Southern Edwards Plateau, Hill Country, and the Austin metro area through 6 a.m. Friday, with the greatest threat for life-threatening flooding across the Western Hill Country and the Southern Edwards Plateau, where I will show you here in a few moments on a map. Flash flooding and river flooding are still a potential that we're concerned about within the flood watch. And then we're also monitoring another system that is expected to move across the area sometime Sunday night through Monday night, and that could bring the potential for some additional storms and possibly some pockets of heavy rainfall, although we're still low on confidence at the moment on timing of that system and exact rainfall amounts from that system. So this map you're looking at is the observed rainfall that we've estimated from radar from 6 p.m. yesterday through noon today. And you can see the bulk of the rainfall has occurred across the Western Hill Country into the Southern Edwards Plateau region. We have seen some pockets across Western Kerr into southwest Gillespie County of 2 to 5 inches of rain that have occurred. And then more recently this afternoon and late this morning, back into Edwards and portions of eastern Valverde County, where we've seen some stripes of 1 to 3 inches of rainfall that have occurred based on radar estimates. Current radar as of about 15 minutes ago, all the heavy rainfall is still focused across that region. This is where we were expecting it to be for much of the day today. Valverde County, out into Kinney, Edwards, moving into Real County through the early to middle portion of the afternoon. And that's where the heavy rainfall has set up through early afternoon, and ongoing flash flood warnings for Edwards County northward up into portions of the Concho Valley. On the right there, you see our satellite image. We're still tracking the upper level low pressure system that's moving eastward towards Texas that will move across tonight. And then we're starting to track the next system off the Pacific Northwest that's just entering our satellite view here. That'll be our next system we'll be watching for, as I mentioned again, sometime Sunday night through Monday night. So I just want to display here some model imagery. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, don't get too caught up on exact locations of the storms or exact timing here. Just kind of keep a 30,000 foot view here of just general trends of roughly where precipitation is and roughly how things are moving from west to east. So this is our HRRR model showing the rainfall again this afternoon, mid-afternoon across the Western Hill Country, Southern Edwards Plateau region where we're seeing it right now, 2 to 5 o'clock. That's the time frame to continue to watch for additional training of storms and heavy rainfall. I should mention, I meant to point this out earlier on the satellite imagery, that our weather balloon that got launched this morning out of Del Rio, Texas, sampled a moisture level from the surface to the top of the atmosphere that was a record level for this time of year. So we're dealing with a lot of moisture availability with these storms that can produce some pretty quick heavy rainfall rates in addition to the training of storms. And so again, we'll be watching the 3 to 5 p.m. time frame for continued training of storms and flood potential across the Western Hill Country and Southern Edwards Plateau. And then as you look on the right of the slide, as we start getting in the 5 to 8 p.m. time frame, the storms start to shift eastward towards the eastern hill country, Llano, Gillespie, into Blanco, Kendall counties, and eventually into the I-35 corridor. We'll see some scattered to broken type storms moving into the region during the evening hours. Then as we go into the overnight hours, that kind of shifts eastward and northeastwards up towards the College Station area. Might be a little brief break, say 9 to midnight, and then overnight, midnight to 3 a.m., we are watching a signal in several of our models that show the redevelopment of a broken line of storms back towards the Edwards Plateau region and into the Western Hill Country. That could dump some additional heavy rainfall, and that shifts eastward into the early morning hours, pre-dawn, towards around sunrise into the I-35 corridor. So 3 to 7 a.m. time frame Friday morning into the I-35 corridor, and then eventually kind of shifting eastward through the daylight hours on Friday and kind of falling apart. So two kind of rounds to watch out for. The one that's ongoing, western areas for the next few hours, shifting east towards the I-35 corridor this evening. And then a secondary round overnight, reforming out across the Western Hill Country and Edwards Plateau, moving east pre-dawn and early tomorrow morning into the I-35 corridor. As far as additional rainfall amounts on top of what we've already received, this is the most likely additional rainfall amounts. Again, focused heavily towards that western part of the flood watch that I'm going to show you here soon. Portions of eastern Valverde County, Edwards County, Real, Western Kerr, an additional 1 to 2 inches, kind of widespread are possible. Farther east, generally around an inch, most likely into the eastern hill country and Austin metro area, and then south of there as you get towards San Antonio, and then southeastward into the coastal plains, anywhere from just a trace to a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, most likely scenario of additional rainfall to occur. Kind of looking at the higher end scenarios of what we can expect, and this is where we mentioned kind of isolated pockets in our flood watch of up to 5 inches. This box that you see here in pink is our primary concern for additional life-threatening flash flooding, anywhere from the Western Hill Country back towards eastern Valverde County. Some isolated stripes of up to 5 inches still definitely in play, given those rainfall, given that moisture level that was observed on our balloon sounding this morning. So again, hill country, Western Hill Country, Edwards Plateau region, really the focus for the life-threatening flooding that we want to watch for here over the next several hours. And again, with that second round overnight. Kind of higher end amounts farther east as you get into the Austin area, Eastern Hill Country, some 1 to 2 inch amounts, possible pockets of that. And then southward from there into the San Antonio area, high end amounts possible of half an inch to an inch. The excessive rainfall outlook has been updated. So this takes a look at if we were to receive those higher end amounts, what would that do for the potential for additional flooding? The areas that you see shaded in yellow and red are at highest risk for additional flooding and are level 2 out of 3, category 2 to 3 out of 4 on our scale for additional excessive rainfall that could lead to flash flooding. So here's our flood watch. Again, we removed those counties in the I-35 corridor south of Austin and then west of San Antonio along the US 90 corridor. We're really focused on the hill country and then back into the Austin metro area, and especially the Western Hill Country, Gillespie, Kerr, Real, Edwards, and eastern Valverde counties for those isolated higher amounts up to 5 inches. And real briefly on the severe weather outlook, so the risk for seeing any isolated tornadoes or isolated storms that could produce large hail or straight line wind gusts. We're still in a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe storms, isolated in coverage, 2% chance of tornadoes anywhere shaded in that green area within 25 miles of a point, and a 5% risk of large hail or damaging straight line winds within 25 miles of a point in the green shade, dark green shaded area. And finally, just kind of wrapping up here with the second system that we're watching Sunday into Monday. It's trending a little bit slower. We're looking more likely Sunday night into Monday now for South Central Texas. Again, some uncertainty on the exact timing and placement of the rainfall and the rainfall amounts. But this is our excessive rainfall outlook for Sunday night on the left, and then Monday on the right. So anywhere from a level 1 to 2 out of 4 across portions of South Central Texas for additional rainfall that could lead to flooding. And also we will have to watch out with that second system for some isolated strong to severe storms, mainly a hail threat with that second system. The good news about this second system is it's a pretty progressive, quick moving system. We are likely not to see training issues like we have last night into today with this system on Sunday and Monday. And finally, just our kind of 7-day outlook, still staying warm the next couple of days, trending kind of back near normal as we get to the middle portion of next week, and then even cool as we get towards the Thanksgiving holiday next week and into next weekend. Rain chances continue obviously tonight and into tomorrow morning, maybe a brief break tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. Some rain chances come back into the forecast Saturday, and then much higher rain chances with that second system Sunday night and into Monday. And then right now the forecast looks dry Tuesday into Thanksgiving. So just to summarize, we've seen some heavy rainfall already from overnight storms through early afternoon, with the focus of those pockets of heavy rainfall across the Edwards Plateau and Western Hill Country. That will remain the threat area through the next few hours and then shift eastward into the Eastern Hill Country and I-35 corridor this evening, with a secondary round developing overnight and into early tomorrow morning. The flood watch remains in effect through 6 a.m. Friday for the Hill Country and Austin metro area, with the greatest threat for life-threatening flooding across the Western Hill Country and Southern Edwards Plateau region. And again, we're still low confidence on that system Sunday through Tuesday. We hope to gain some better clarity on that through the weekend, and we'll keep you updated on that.